How's it going, everybody? DB back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about why the fuck I'm so pissed off tonight. Okay, so Iowa State playing Kansas today. Kansas 4-0 for the first time since 2009, I believe. Looking for their first 5-0 start since even earlier. Iowa State coming off the loss from Baylor, which you can blame the refs, you can blame the offense, you can blame the defense, especially whatever you want to blame. We lost to Baylor. So we're going to Lawrence, Kansas, and game starts off super slow. Nobody really does anything. 0-0 at the end of the first quarter. That's fine, whatever. Kansas goes right down the field, scores. That's fine. Deckers throws a pick, like inside the Kansas, or like inside our own like 10-yard line. Kansas scores again, just like that, 14-0. Iowa State scores, make it 14-6. And there's a botched snap on the point after. And Blake Clark, being the absolute legend that he is, takes this bad snap that's 4 miles over his head and runs it to the right pylon and scores, so it's 14-8. 6-point game. Kansas gets the ball back right before the half, goes 3-and-out. Iowa State gets the ball back, doesn't do anything. Tries a last-second Hail Mary, gets sacked. That was a common thing today, was Hunter Deckers getting sacked for either holding onto the ball for too long or not having enough time or just not avoiding the rush. I don't know what the fuck was wrong with everybody on the offense today, but there was no running game, by the way. We'll get to it at the end. Iowa State ran the ball 30 times for 26 yards. Fun fact, running for less than a yard a carry is not going to win you football games. But anyway, going to the half down 6, and honestly, I felt better about being down 6 today than I did when we were down 3 against Baylor at the half last week. To be completely honest with you, I tweeted it out. I said that I felt better down 14-6 or 14-8 than I did down 17-14 against Baylor last week. Iowa State comes down, kicks a field goal. Thinking, okay, maybe he's figured it out. You know, he doinked the first one, he makes the second one though. So maybe Gilbert's all straightened out. Kansas does jack shit on offense the entire second half. Kansas had 52 yards of total offense, 54, and then the kneel down at the end of the game for -2 yards. So 54, but officially 52 as far as my counting goes. Kansas had 52 yards of total offense in the second half. Iowa State couldn't capitalize on any of it. Didn't do jack shit on offense. Every time that we had a third or fourth down, we ran a drag route or a crossing route or a flat route and didn't do anything. There was at one point in the game we had a 3rd and 9 and Hunter Deckers dropped back, took 2 seconds, and then just flipped it out to Deion Silas, who's 6.5 yards behind the line of scrimmage on like a little flare out from next to him. And of course, he gets back to the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 9. So it's 4th and 9 and we have to punt the ball away. And that was a common theme throughout the entire game. It was 3rd and 7, we'll run a 3-yard crosser. Oh, it's 4th and 3, we'll run a 2-yard crosser. Oh, it's 3rd and 7, we'll run a 3-yard cross. I mean, it was just the whole game. The whole game. And then we finally, by the way, setting up the touchdown, finally throw a deep ball. And it's a completion to Dimitri Stanley for 47 yards. I mean, the absolute incompetence of Tom Manning, the offensive coordinator, is unbelievable. Unbelievable how incompetent he is at his job. And look, part of that, Deckers is a young fresh. He hasn't started very many games. He'll get better. But the play call, you cannot call on 3rd and 7 a route combination where your primary receiver and Xavier Hutchinson is running a 3-yard drag route. You cannot rely on him to always get 4 or more yards after he catches the ball. You have to assume somebody's going to be watching Xavier Hutchinson. You cannot run 3-yard routes on 3rd and 7 every fucking time. It doesn't work. It does not work. So anyway, it's 14-11 now after a made field goal. And Iowa State gets the ball back. And we get into Kansas territory and we're attempting another field goal. Keep in mind, Jace Gilbert, the freshman kicker, by the way, 1 of 2 on the day, doinks it off the same upright. Hits the right upright for a second time. So now you've had a bad snap on a field goal on an extra point, which in the end resulted in 2 points instead of 1. So, maybe you take it. But you had a bad snap on an extra point, and you've had now 2 kicks hit the upright. So there's 3 special teams miscues just on the field goal unit. Kansas gets the ball back, obviously, after the missed field goal. Again, doesn't do anything with it because they didn't do anything the entire second half. Iowa State gets the ball back. And I'll just skip ahead to Iowa State gets the ball back, doesn't do anything, punts it. Kansas gets the ball back, doesn't do anything, punts it. Jalen Noel muffs that punt. Kansas recovers. So Kansas gets the ball in plus territory at like the 30-yard line. First play, they go backwards. They get sacked. Or maybe it was a designed run. I don't know. No yardage. Lost 4 yards on the play. Then on the next play, they run left again. And it was Daniel Highshaw Jr. Absolutely incredible running back for Kansas. He and Devin Neal are one of the best 1-2 punches, especially when they get going. But Daniel Highshaw gets bottled up, and we're pushing him back, and he fights through a tackle. So forward progress isn't stopped because he's not tackled and he's not in contact with anyone. And he gets hit. And Orion Vance, at the last second, as he's going to the ground, strips the ball, recovers it. Daniel Highshaw gets hurt on the play, has to be carted off the field on a stretcher. So obviously wishing the best to Daniel Highshaw. But Iowa State gets the ball back. And we convert on a 4th down on the drive to keep the drive alive. It was like a 4th and 3. Or it was like a 4th and 7. And Hunter Dekkers had about half a second to throw the ball because the right guard doesn't block the defensive tackle that's lined up right across from him. Nobody touches him. Comes completely free up the middle. Hits Hunter Dekkers as he's throwing. He throws to Xavier Hutchinson, who makes the catch. Gets hurt on the play. I assume he got the wind knocked out of him because he came back in later in the drive or later in the game. So, obviously hoping that's nothing serious, but, he came back in the game. So, presumably he's okay. But so we convert the 4th and 7 because we actually run a route that goes past the first down marker. Who'd have fucking thought that works? Not fucking Tom Manning, clearly. So now we're 4 of 5 on 4th down to that point. One of which was a QB sneak because we needed like 2 inches, and one of which was whatever. And we also ran a QB sneak earlier in the game from our own 1-yard line, which, by the way, that's a completely different video. But the officials were once again terrible, but they were not at all the main reason we lost today. So, Iowa State has the ball, down by 3, driving with like a minute to go, and Xavier Hutchinson runs an out route on 3rd and like 8 or 9, and he gets tackled, and he doesn't reach the ball across. Now, that wasn't the first time that had happened. There had been a couple times where Iowa State players would get tackled like right at the marker, making it 3rd and inches or 4th and inches, and they wouldn't reach the ball across. And you know what? To be completely honest with you, I'm okay with that because I don't want to risk somebody coming over and punching the ball free or losing control of the ball or whatever. So you know what? I don't really care about that. We can push that to the side because I don't really care. It's unfortunate, but he held onto the ball and everything, so we're good. It's now 4th and inches. Hold on, I'm going to pull this up so I make sure I get the right yardage. 4th and inches. Excuse me. It was 3rd and 5 with 57 seconds left. It's now 4th and inches with like 45 seconds to go after the play. Iowa State lines up to go for it in shotgun on 4th and inches, in shotgun from the Kansas 20-yard line. We run the play clock down to 6 seconds. And then we call a timeout. Why we ran it down to precisely 6 seconds on the play clock, I have not a clue. Couldn't tell you. Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to anyone that was watching the football game. Run up under your center's ass, snap it, and sneak it for 6 inches. That's all you need. And then you get a first down to stop the clock momentarily. And then you can spike it on first down. You can throw a quick pass. You can call your last time out. You have so many options if you just get the first down. Even if you don't QB sneak it. It's 4th and inches. You're 4 or 5 on third down. You've got Hunter Deckers in the game, who's a 6'4" quarterback. You've got Xavier Hutchinson and Jalen Knoll out on the outside. Dimitri Stanley, who, admittedly wasn't targeted very often, but he made some plays today. He made 2 really nice catches, one the 47-yarder and one a third down early in the game on like the first drive of the game or second drive of the game. You've got weapons on this team. Use them. I don't understand. But anyway, run the clock down to 6 seconds. Run the play clock down to 6 seconds. The game clock is at like 28 seconds now. And you send the field goal unit out there. I was at a watch party at Buzzard Billy's in Des Moines. I had made the remark earlier after Jace Gilbert doinked the second one. I said he's missed 2 now. He's going to overcorrect, and he's going to miss it left. Jace Gilbert missed it left. Didn't even look good. Missed it left the whole way. It wasn't just he glanced it just left of the upright. No, he missed it by another set of uprights over. Was how bad he. It wasn't even close. It looked like a knuckleball right off the foot. I mean, there was no end over end at all to this kick. I mean, it was just absolutely botched. And I don't understand for the life of me, needing 6 inches in a road conference game, you would send out a kicker, a freshman kicker with the game on the line who's already missed twice to kick a field goal that would basically tie his career long. I don't know. I haven't listened to the press conference afterwards for Matt Campbell because I don't know if it's up on anything yet. If nobody asked him about why that decision was made, I got problems. Because you know what? There's a difference in having faith in your players. I get having faith in your players. The Packers have done it with Mason Crosby for probably 5 years now. Mason Crosby will have one terrible game a year. You think about the Lions game a couple years ago. You think about the Bengals game last year. He just has one awful performance a year. But you know what? They stick with him because he's a vet and he's generally pretty good. So I get wanting to have faith in your players. But a freshman kicker with the game on the line who's missed twice. Jace Gilbert could end up being the best kicker in Iowa State history, for all I know. There was people that ridiculed Cole Netton, and then he ended up being like first team all Big 12 kicker like his senior year. So, there's a chance. Jace Gilbert could just be the best kicker in Iowa State history. But in that moment, you cannot, under any circumstance, trust your freshman kicker with the game on the line after he's missed 2 field goals already. Especially after he's missed both of them the same direction. He missed both of them off the right upright. He's gonna miss it left every time. Every time he kicks that ball, he's missing it left. And then, obviously, no timeouts left. Kansas takes a knee and moves to 5-0. Now, look. Iowa State started 3-2 before. It's just usually it's a loss to Iowa and then a loss in one of the first 2 conference games. And by usually, I mean basically every time that Campbell's been here. So this is not unfamiliar territory. But it is unfamiliar territory in the fact that do we even know what we have at this point? Because Tom Manning clearly doesn't do shit. He's got all these weapons on offense. Xavier Hutchinson, Jalen Knoll. Hunter Deckers has an absolute cannon of an arm. I mean, he can throw the ball 45 yards like perpendicular to where like if he's supposed to be like this, throwing the ball that way, and it would go 45 yards. You've got all this. Now, granted, Jairell Brock got hurt on like the first drive of the game, didn't play the rest of the game, and Cartavius Norton, who was apparently good to go, didn't even make the trip. So I don't even know what's going on there. So you're down basically your top 2 running backs. But when they're healthy, you got more weapons there. I don't get it. I really, honestly and truly do not understand it. And then, I love Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell is the greatest thing to happen to Iowa State football in 100 years. But he preaches the margins and the details every week and every game and every year. And the special teams, the biggest margin. You got the offense, the defense, and then the margins. The biggest part of that margin is the special teams. And year after year after year, they are shit. They are absolute garbage. Why? I have no idea. No idea. Absolutely no. We wasted one of the best efforts of all time by a Cyclones defense. One of the best all time. Don't believe me? Don't believe me? I got the stats here, right here. So Jalen Daniels, granted, early in the season. Jalen Daniels, here, let me pull it up here. Let me pull it up. Hold on. I gotta pull up Twitter. Hold on. I'll read it off for you. Here we go. So Jalen Daniels, the Heisman candidate, quote unquote, coming into today was 66 of 93, which is about a 71% completion percentage, for 890 yards with 11 touchdowns and 1 pick. On top of that, adding 38 carries for 320 yards and 4 touchdowns. So per game, 16.5 completions for 23 and a quarter attempts for 222.5 yards and almost 3 touchdowns a game. 2 3/4 2.75 touchdowns a game. And then rushing the ball, 9.5 carries a game for 80 yards a game and a touchdown. Today, 7 of 14 passing. 50% completion. That's 21% under his season average. He threw for 93 yards. Jalen Daniels did not throw for 100 yards today. He threw for 93 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. And then running the ball, this dual threat quarterback, Jalen Daniels, averaging 80 yards a carry on just under 10 carries a game. Ran the ball 8 times for 9 yards. Completely wasted. The defense, people were complaining about the defense the first half because Kansas had 14 points and it looked like there was, some big carries. They had a big option run for 30 yards to Devin Neal. And then Jalen Daniels had a touchdown run from like 5 yards out or something like that. They wasted it. The defense and the special teams completely wasted it. And that is again. Granted, Jalen Daniels, I don't think is Will Grier, but that's a performance like West Virginia in 2018, and that's what kind of performance we got from the defense. And absolutely threw it away. Absolutely just tossed it aside and said, no, we're going to run 3-yard crossing routes on 3rd and 7 and not go for it on 4th and inches with our 6'4", 220-pound quarterback, and instead throw out a freshman kicker who's 1 of 3 on the day, and he's missed both kicks to the right, off the right upright. Just embarrassing. Just absolutely embarrassing. From the offense, from the special teams, from the coaching staff, from everybody that's not one of the 11 players on defense or John Haycock, absolutely embarrassing. And we get Kansas State coming to Jack Trice next week. It's a primetime game. And Kansas State, they lost to Tulane, but since then, they beat Oklahoma, and they beat Texas Tech, who beat Texas. And Adrian Martinez, since the Tulane game, is going off on people. If Tom Manning and the offense and the special teams don't figure their shit out by next Saturday against Kansas State, Iowa State could be in for the longest season of the Matt Campbell era. We went 3-9 his first year there, and it's just, it's his first year. Like, he hasn't really had a chance to set anything up. this could be the longest year. We'll probably get over 3 wins, unlike the first year when we went 3-9 in 2016. This is going to be the longest year. If we don't figure shit out against Kansas State and we end up 0-3 in the conference after 3 games, it's going to be a shitstorm. So, I don't know. Get ready for it, because at this point it seems likely. So, I don't know. Run game was terrible. Hunter Deckers at times looked like he was completely lost. Couldn't throw the ball. Just wasn't avoiding any pressure. Oh God. This video is 20 minutes long. Just of me shitting on how bad we were today. I didn't think it was possible that I could make a 20-minute video about how bad Iowa State would be this year, but here we are. That's what you get, losing to Kansas. 14-11. 14-11. By the way, that's a Kansas team. By the way, this is a Kansas team whose lowest scoring output was against Duke last week, and they scored 35 points. Oh, by the way, we scored 1 more point against Kansas than Tennessee Tech did. Tennessee Tech scored 10 points on Kansas, and we scored 11. The next lowest, also Duke, with 27. Kansas was giving up 33 points a game against FBS opponents, and we scored 11 points. 11 points. West Virginia scored 42 points. Houston scored 30 points, and we scored 11. Just fucking embarrassing. Pathetic and embarrassing. And it needs to be better. That's going to do it for me. If you enjoyed the content and you want to see more, click the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'll be streaming tomorrow for the Patriots at Packers game at Lambeau Field at 3:25 Central. Hope to see some of you there. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, you want to see more content, subscribe. Click the bell icon so you get notified whenever I go live, whenever I upload a video. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.